Good Friday morning, everyone. Hey, today we're going to finish up this powerful message by Pastor Wayne Cordeiro of New Hope Christian Church from Honolulu, Hawaii, that we are been listening to this week called The In-Between Places. And that's where God does some of his best work in our lives. And he will wrap it all up today with some stories that are going to touch your heart. And so I'm thankful that you tuned in. It is Friday. We'd like to invite you to come to church on Sunday. Saddleback meets in Clubhouse 5 at 9 and 11 on two services on Sunday. Love to have you at either one. They're both a blessing. And we serve food at both of them. I hope you'll join us. If you have another church, great. You go and attend and worship with all your might. They need you. God bless. Hey, let God minister to us as we listen to Pastor Wayne Cordeiro.
What's the purpose of me trying to do good and I get bad consequences? Well, it's not from the good seed. It's because for years we've been throwing bad. And now we're throwing good, but you still have the residue. It's in the in-between that's going to make you or break you. And God says, listen, you're there, some of you. You've been throwing good seed, but you got weeds coming up, and you're getting tired. And God is saying to you today, keep throwing good seed. Because it won't be long, even though things are coming up negatively, marriage isn't going good. I'm trying my best. I'm going to church. I'm going to a small group. Nothing's happening. Just keep throwing good seed, because there's going to be a day you're going to turn around. You'll be in a field of dreams. But it doesn't happen right away. You have to be able to go through the turbulence. You'll have to go into the in-between times, because it's in the in-between times that miracles start taking place. It was Jesus in between Jerusalem and Jairus' house that a woman gets healed of an issue of blood. It's in between. There's meaning in the in-between. So you keep carrying water buckets. Even though it seems tough, some of you moms, you're in the midst of the diaper era. Or you're in the midst of the chauffeur to soccer era. And you're going, this is getting tiring here. Can I encourage you to continue to carry water buckets? Because there's going to be a day, listen carefully, there's going to be a day you're going to turn around, and somewhere along the line, I don't know when, where, but somewhere along the line, God turned water to wine. You think about it. When did that happen? Was it the first trip? No, the second. No, the third. No, when the bucket hit the well water. No, when he tasted it. No, we don't know. But we do know this, that somewhere along the line, as they were continuing to carry water buckets, somewhere, water turned to wine. When? I have no idea. But I'm glad he did. You may be right there. Because you see, sometimes God's plan A isn't our plan A. Sometimes our plan A is God's plan D. But the ways of God is in the in-between spaces. He shows up in a burning bush. He shows up in a victory in the valley of Elah. He shows up on the road to Damascus. And everything changes. Be ready. It could happen, maybe not in the service, but in the midst of where the hub is, or in the courtyard, or to the car, or it could be before your kids go to sleep. Something's going to be said. Something's going to be happening, and all of a sudden you think, wow, I don't know where it happened, hon, but somewhere along the line, God turned water into wine. I'm so glad he did. Never forget that God's ways are not always our ways. Let me give you a story or two out of my life. Some time ago, there was a guy in California here, and not Saddleback, but here in California, and he lost his job, but another job was offered to him in Hawaii. He thought, wow, let's do it. His marriage wasn't doing well, and his kids were going little gabongers, but he said, it's time for us to move. So they moved to Hawaii, and he got the job, and so happened they started coming to our church. Well, his kids loved it. They got involved in our youth group and started to blossom. And like some of these kids in the choir, they just came alive. I thought, wow, that's so cool. And his marriage came together. Problem is, 8 months later, his job dried up. And I remember him coming to me saying, why would God do this? Why does God bring me here to Hawaii and then let the job dry up? What kind of God is that? I said, whoa, you're in between, aren't you? I said, maybe your plan was to come here for a good paying job. Maybe God's plan was to get your marriage together. He used the job to get you here. Now your kids are doing good. Do you understand God's plan A wasn't yours? And maybe your faith needs to be strong enough to pivot towards his plans. Do you have a faith that's adaptable? A pivotal faith that can move? He said, now I'm starting to get it. I said, yes, God's miracles happen in the in-between places. Funny thing, 2 months later, he got a job better than the first one. Let me give you one more story. In Hawaii, our home is here. In the middle is a place called Ala Moana Park. Over here is the church. One Wednesday night service, the worship leader got ill suddenly, and so they said, Wayne, could you help bring your guitar? Because I play guitar, not well, but enough. And so I said, yeah, sure. So instead of taking my guitar to church, I went early and stopped at this park because I had to brush up on some choruses. And so I sat on a park bench at the Ala Moana Park, and I was playing guitar and singing, and I put my guitar away. I thought, okay, I got it. When a guy from another park bench came and saddled up next to me, he said, hey, man, he said, I play ukulele. Can I play with you? At first I thought, no, I don't want to play ukulele with you. But then the Lord said, chill, just chill. So I said, yeah, sure. So he ran and got his ukulele. He was a homeless guy living in the park. So he came and sat next to me. We tuned up, and we started playing some Hawaiian songs together and singing. And I taught him a few choruses, and I sang some of the choruses we were going to sing at church. And he said, who do you work for? I said, I work for God. He said, you work for God? I said, yeah. And then he said something I'll never forget. He said, do you think God knows about me? I said, he sure does, and he cares. That launched into a discussion and then a conversation, and I got to pray with him to receive Christ. Then I had to go, so I put my guitar away, went to church, we had worship, and well, the next week I wanted to just check up on this guy, so I just drove back to the park, and I went to where the picnic bench was where I was sitting, and he wasn't there. And just then another Hawaiian guy said, hey, bro. That's, hey, brother. Hey, bro, how's it? I said, yeah, how are you? He said, hey, you were playing with Keoki last week. I said, oh, that was his name. I didn't catch his name. He said, yeah, we're going to miss him. I said, what? He said, yeah, 2 days ago, you didn't hear he died. I said, no way. He said, yeah, heart attack. We will miss him. As I was driving out, I thought, God, it wasn't for me to go to the park to practice choruses. It was to go to talk to Keoki about his eternity. The in-between places is where God works great miracles. Some of you are in the in-between places, and you want to bag it. Can I encourage you? Keep throwing good seed. Keep carrying water buckets, because it won't be long. You will turn around and you'll see that somewhere along the line, God turned water into wine. You watch. You wait. You'll see. Amen.
It is well, it is well with my soul.